My daughter called me every Sunday morning for almost 2 years just to ask one thing. Mom, are you alone? At 64, I thought it was love. I thought losing my husband had made her protective, caring, the kind of daughter other women at church envied. Then last Sunday, for reasons I still can't fully explain, I lied to her for the first time. I told her my sister was staying with me. The line went silent for 3 full seconds before my daughter whispered, "Oh, okay," and something in her voice made my stomach turn cold. Tell me honestly, would that silence scare you too, or am I overthinking it? I live alone outside Asheville, North Carolina, in the same blue farmhouse my husband and I bought 23 years ago, when life still felt stable and predictable. My husband Daniel passed away after a sudden heart attack 5 years ago, and ever since then, my daughter Rebecca started calling every Sunday morning at exactly 7:15 in the morning. Same soft voice, same careful questions. Did you sleep okay? Did you take your medication? Anyone stop by? I thought she was worried about me because I'd had 2 minor falls last winter. I thought that was what good daughters did. But after last Sunday's call, I couldn't stop replaying the strange relief in her voice whenever I told her I was alone. Have you ever ignored a feeling because the truth behind it felt too ugly to face? That afternoon, my younger sister Elaine noticed something I had somehow missed for weeks. My blood pressure pills looked different. Not all of them, just a few mixed inside the bottle. Elaine used to work at a clinic years ago, and the second she poured them into her hand, her face changed. She asked if Rebecca ever handled my medication when she visited. I laughed at first because the question sounded ridiculous. Then I remembered how often my daughter volunteered to help organize things around the house whenever she came over. The bathroom cabinet, the kitchen drawers, my medicine shelf. Suddenly, every small memory felt wrong. Every Sunday call sounded different in my head, and for the first time since Daniel died, I became afraid of my own child. If this happened to you, would you confront your daughter immediately or secretly find out the truth first? That night, I barely slept. I sat in my kitchen staring at that orange prescription bottle while rain hit the windows hard enough to shake the glass. Around midnight, I dumped every pill onto the table and realized Elaine was right. 3 of them were completely different. Same color family, same size at first glance, but not identical. Whoever switched them knew I wouldn't look closely. My hands actually started shaking because there was only one person besides me who had regular access to that cabinet: Rebecca. My daughter had been visiting almost every other weekend for months, bringing groceries, cleaning the house, refilling my weekly pill organizer without me even asking. And suddenly, all those helpful little things didn't feel loving anymore. They felt calculated. Have you ever suddenly looked back at someone's kindness and wondered if it was covering something darker the whole time? The next morning, Elaine drove me to a 24-hour pharmacy across town because neither of us wanted to wait until Monday. The pharmacist examined the pills quietly for almost a minute before asking me if I was taking them together with my normal blood pressure medication. When I said yes, his entire expression changed. He told me the substituted pills were strong water retention tablets, sometimes used for heart patients, and that mixing them incorrectly could cause confusion, weakness, dangerous blood pressure drops, even fainting episodes in older adults. Then he asked a question that made my chest tighten instantly. "Have you been feeling unusually forgetful lately?" I couldn't even answer him at first, because over the past 6 months I had been forgetting things, misplacing keys, losing track of conversations, feeling dizzy when I stood up. Rebecca kept insisting I needed someone around more often. She even mentioned assisted living twice this year. At the time, I thought she was worried about me. But standing in that pharmacy at nearly 1 in the morning, for the first time, I wondered if someone had been trying to make me look unstable on purpose. Tell me honestly, what would you do in my position right there?
I didn't call the police that night. I know some people probably think I should have, but when it's your own child, your brain fights the truth even while it's staring directly at you. Instead, I called Rebecca the next afternoon and acted completely normal. I asked about work. I asked about her boyfriend. I even laughed at one of her jokes while my stomach twisted so hard I thought I might get sick. Then, near the end of the call, she casually asked if I'd taken my medication yet. Not, "How are you feeling?" Not, "How was your day?" Straight to the pills. And when I paused for half a second too long, her voice sharpened instantly. "Mom, you are taking 'em, right?" That was the moment something inside me finally broke, because concern and control can sound almost identical until you hear 'em the right way. Have you ever realized someone wasn't asking out of love anymore, but out of fear that they were losing control of you? 2 days later, Rebecca drove up to visit me unexpectedly. She claimed she was worried because I sounded tired on the phone, but by then Elaine and I had already replaced every medication bottle in the house and hidden the originals inside a locked drawer in my bedroom. I watched my daughter carefully that entire afternoon. And the strangest part was how normal she seemed. She folded laundry while talking about a Netflix show. She made soup in my kitchen. She kissed my forehead before dinner. If someone had walked into that house, they would have thought I had the sweetest daughter in the world. But around 6:30, Rebecca excused herself to use the bathroom, and 20 minutes later, Elaine quietly touched my arm and pointed down the hallway. Rebecca wasn't in the bathroom anymore. She was standing inside my bedroom with the medicine cabinet open, completely still, just staring at the shelves like she was looking for something she couldn't find. The second she noticed us watching, she smiled so fast it honestly scared me more than if she'd looked angry. Then she laughed and said, "Mom, you really need a better system for organizing all this stuff." To this day, I still think about how quickly that smile appeared. Too quick, too practiced. If you had seen that look on your own child's face, would you have confronted them right there, or stayed quiet to learn more?
I stayed quiet. That's the part people struggle to understand when I tell this story now. They ask why I didn't scream at her or throw her out immediately. But fear does strange things to a mother's mind. Some part of me still wanted Rebecca to give me an explanation that made sense, a misunderstanding, a mistake, anything except the truth growing heavier in my chest every time she looked at my medication cabinet. So instead of confronting her, Elaine and I pretended nothing happened. We ate dinner together while my daughter laughed and talked about a coworker getting fired, and I remember staring at her hands while she spoke, because those were the same little hands I used to hold crossing parking lots when she was 5 years old. It's terrifying how someone can look completely familiar and completely foreign at the exact same time. I don't know if that feeling ever fully leaves you once it starts. Do you think a parent can truly stop trusting their child after something like this? Or does part of that trust always survive no matter what? After Rebecca left that night, Elaine finally said the thing neither of us wanted to say out loud. You need proof. Not suspicion, not feelings, actual proof. So the next morning, we installed a small motion camera inside the hallway bookshelf facing my bedroom door and medicine cabinet. I hated every second of it. The entire setup made me feel like I was betraying my own daughter, which sounds insane considering what she might have been doing to me, but mothers are wired in complicated ways. 3 days later, Rebecca called unexpectedly and asked if she could stop by after work because she missed me. Those were her exact words, missed me. By then, my nerves were so wrecked I could barely hold my coffee cup steady. She arrived around 8 o'clock carrying takeout and hugged me longer than usual at the front door. For almost an hour, nothing happened. We watched television. She rubbed my shoulder while talking about how lonely she'd been lately. Then around 9:15, she asked if I still kept extra towels in my bedroom closet because she'd spilled soda on her jacket. 5 minutes after she walked down the hallway, my phone buzzed with a motion alert from the camera. And when Elaine and I opened the footage together later that night, we both stopped breathing at the exact same moment. Rebecca wasn't looking for towels. She was standing at my medicine cabinet with a Ziploc bag in her hand, replacing pills one by one. I still remember the calm expression on her face while she did it. That calmness scared me more than anything else ever has. Tell me the truth. After seeing footage like that, could you ever forgive your own child?
The police came to my house the following afternoon. I thought handing them the video would make me feel relieved, but honestly, I felt sick the entire time. One detective watched the video 3 separate times without speaking, while the other asked quiet questions about Rebecca's finances, her behavior over the past year, and whether she'd talked about my house or inheritance. That last question hit me harder than I expected, because suddenly, dozens of conversations came rushing back into my head. Rebecca casually asking if I'd updated my will. Rebecca suggesting I add her name to certain accounts in case of emergencies. Rebecca telling me more than once that the farmhouse was too much responsibility for someone my age. Alone, none of those comments sounded dangerous. Together, they sounded horrifying. That's the thing nobody warns you about. Real betrayal rarely arrives all at once. It builds slowly inside ordinary conversations, until one day you look back and realize the danger started long before you noticed it. Looking back now, what's one small red flag you think people ignore too easily in relationships? 2 weeks later, the investigation uncovered something I still struggle to process, even now. Rebecca had been drowning financially for almost a year. Credit card debt, personal loans, missed rent payments. Her long-term boyfriend had moved out months earlier, and she'd hidden most of it from everyone. But what truly shattered me was learning she'd already met with an attorney to ask questions about power of attorney over elderly parents showing signs of cognitive decline. The detective explained that if my confusion and dizziness had continued getting worse, it would have become much easier for her to convince people I couldn't safely manage things alone anymore. Hearing that out loud physically hurt. Not because of the money or the house, because somewhere along the line, my daughter stopped seeing me as her mother and started seeing me as a problem she needed control over. Rebecca was eventually arrested, but the story didn't end the way people expect. During the investigation, doctors discovered she was dealing with severe, untreated anxiety and paranoid thinking that had spiraled badly after her financial collapse. According to her therapist, she'd convinced herself I was becoming incapable of caring for myself, and that if she didn't step in, someone else would eventually take everything from our family. None of that excuses what she did, not even close, but it changed the way I carried the anger.
The hardest part of loving someone is realizing they can hurt you terribly without fully understanding the damage they cause. Rebecca is in treatment now. We speak occasionally. The calls are awkward and careful, and nothing like they used to be. But sometimes, before hanging up, she still says, "I love you, Mom." And every single time, there's a small pause before I answer, because part of me remembers the Sunday morning silence that nearly destroyed my life. Maybe that pause will always be there. Maybe some wounds never disappear completely. But I'm still here. I still wake up every morning in my blue farmhouse outside Asheville. I still drink coffee on the porch where Daniel and I used to sit together. And now, when the phone rings on Sunday mornings, I never lie to myself about what fear feels like anymore.